Hello and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jeff.
Jeff is losing it right now.
Part of Jeff is regretting Horror House. But that's why we're here, is to make him re-regret that. Welcome, everybody.
You're going to regret not regretting sooner.
Yes. And, other than that, you're going to regret ever listening to the Beatles, because we're going to talk about so much Beatles stuff tonight, and music in general. Conspiracy theories, urban legends, all of that kind of stuff. Mainly, we're talking Paul McCartney, died in 1966. We got the stuff. We got the scoops. Jeff, scoops was your job, I think. Did you get scoops? You get the scoops?
No, I got some tortilla chips though.
Oh, this may. I can understand. I get it. Damn it. Well, we might not have the scoops, but at least we got tortilla chips. We got Dave. We got Jeff. We got this guy. And we got beers. And Dave, explain to them your drink tonight.
I'm at Fancy Pants tonight. I'm drinking Q Mixer's Spicy Mango Margarita Mix. You bring your own tequila with this. So I'm mixing with Olmeca Altos, the best $35 or under tequila you can buy at the North Vernon Walmart on a Saturday night.
Amen. Amen.
And that rating comes from myself. So I said it. I declared it.
All right. Then I'm drinking the usual Rock of Rolling because it's the cheap, and I like it. How beer should be.
It's a fitting. This train's a rolling. We can't be stopped. And we're doing a show about rock and roll.
Amen.
And other musical conspiracies.
You want to follow us or talk to us outside of the stream, get them things up there. Or if you listen on Spotify after the fact, click the description, man. Read a little bit. Get enlightened. Educate yourself. Unless you don't want to. Reading's for squares. Dave taught me that.
You don't want your kids to grow up to be nerds.
This is true.
In other news, I have buckled down and making myself read The Terror that I bought in my haul a couple weeks ago.
Nerd.
I am a nerd. I'm nerding out.
Jeff, join me and let's shame Dave. Nerd.
I'm
Nerd.
It barely counts as reading because I'm reading for like 10 minutes a night, or we turn on a movie to watch.
Wow.
So when I get like 2.5 pages in, timer goes off on the cell phone. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Done my due diligence. So right now, just trying to establish a habit of being a nerd.
Next thing you know, you're in law school. That's how it happens.
As long as it's bird law or snake law. I'll take snake law. Bird law is pretty well covered. Like, I think most bird law is settled law.
You could be onto something. We got a little bit of news. Dave, are you ready for a little bit of news?
I am. You know where my heart is, and I didn't even share this with you guys pre-show. But what? Getting ahead of myself. We need to get to the newsroom to share the news. Great.
Here we are.
My Lord.
Oh, you're going like evangelistic.
I almost got ahead of myself there. Yeah, I almost got ahead of myself there.
I'm like church mom. Oh, Lord.
I got the vapors.
Yeah, I went too hard with that. I hate it. Didn't like it. Regret.
You know where my heart is.
Tennessee.
My heart's in Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando Studios. Halloween or Universal Orlando Studios.
You
Only
got the
Horror Nights
scoops.
on the brain. We got 2 more houses to announce until today, and now we're down to 1 because they announced today the much anticipated. I believe I did say this on the show that I thought it would be an Insidious house, and it is.
Oh.
It's an original Insidious house called Insidious the Further, with the Red Darth Maul demon and Keyface.
Is it a Hitler house? The Fuhrer?
The Fuhrer?
The Fuhrer?
That would be a scary house.
What was the word?
The Further.
Further. I got you.
Right.
I knew I didn't get that right.
Think back to the first Insidious movie, and when she talks to him about like this dream world that they astral project to, she calls it the Further. So we're entering that realm of the dead in this house. So I think it's gonna be good. I was worried it would be like Insidious, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is not horrible. I mean, none of the Insidious movies are horrible. Some are better than others, but
right.
But the Further, going back to the Further, is just. Now we're just waiting on the Universal Monsters house. Surely this is going to be a Universal Monsters house next. There are 2 prevailing camps for prediction. One is that it's going to be a collaborative house, mostly featuring Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I'm super there for. And the other is going to be a collaborative monster house, mostly featuring girl power monsters. And I kind of think that might be the way we go, because in the Epic Universe, remember a couple weeks ago we read about some of the new rides, and the new Dr. Frankenstein, like taking the mantle forward, is going to be Dr. Frankenstein's daughter, the new Dr. Frankenstein. So I kind of expect that we might have that, and they've really had the bride a lot lately, the last couple years, and she got me one time just with that scream she does, and the actress was so good and so loud and right in my freaking ear. I mean, it was kind of worth going deaf for a few hours. So
nice.
Halloween Horror Nights is taking shape, and I can't wait. We're about a month and a half away from a premium Scream night, and I'm going to take the new gimbal I got. I'm going to hopefully shoot some stuff, and maybe I can live stream with you guys, because I can put the Discord on the phone and chime in. Maybe not the whole night, but I can contribute from the scenes of the crimes.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll give that a thumbs up. Jeff, how do you feel about that news? 2 thumbs up, Dave.
Hey!
2 thumbs up. What else do you have for us?
Mostly a lot of trailers outside of the big bad news. Mostly a lot of trailers. Well, I'm just going to kind of rapid fire them a little bit.
Okay.
The Substance trailer, starring Demi Moore. This looks interesting, and it looks like it is interestingly shot. I'm going to be in for it for the filmography of this. It looks cinematic in a Boyd kind of way. So I'm really into it, as well as the fact that it is supposed to be heavy into the body horror scene here. So apparently Demi Moore is searching for youth, and she takes the substance that does some things to her. So I'm in. I think it looks good. Another trailer. I'm just, like I said, I'm going to rapid fire some trailers here. Watch the Substance trailer. Looks good. Bogeyville. Trailer Park Zombies is what I would call Bogeyville. And low budget, but not crappy. It looks decent. Um, some CGI effect looks like mixed with some practical effect. Attempts to be funny that maybe didn't land in the trailer, but I will give this one a shot. I think it looks pretty good. Netflix has released a trailer for the platform Deuce that comes out in October this year. I think they said October 4th or something like that. So I thought the first platform was a very original idea, horror. It's got the social themes that people seem to like these days, and platform 2, I expect an expansion on that. So it looks good. Not so many trailers, but just some news about a Paramount Plus film that's coming out maybe later this year, might be into 2025. I actually didn't get the date written down for this one. It's called Apartment 7A. It is a Rosemary's Baby prequel.
I think we've talked about that before. That sounds vaguely familiar.
I believe we have. And it inspired me last night to buy Rosemary's Baby on Voodoo for $5. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then last, and this is not a trailer, and then we'll do the big Linnea Quigley. Linnea Quigley is part of a group on Indiegogo, and their campaign was about to go live for a movie called Trash's Revenge: The Return of the Living Dead Saga. Some shit like that, but definitely Trash's Revenge. And it was mostly starring people from the original Return of the Living Dead, with just one less pedophile. But the Indiegogo account did not go live as expected because there are some shenanigans afoot. The licensing of the original Return of the Living Dead, and she said that this company is falsely claiming ownership and has been collecting residuals when they are not legally supposed to be collecting residuals. It should be her and the original actors in another group. So there's some lawsuits abound, and then this Indiegogo will be getting back in place. I did sign up for alerts because I'm super interested.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in on that. And then, do one of you guys want to give the last piece of news for the day?
Yet again, we have to report sad news. It feels like the last few episodes there has been somebody that's passed away in everyone. Like the last solid month of horror house shows, it's been one horror icon after another, and this week is no different. With Shelley Duvall has passed away, unfortunately. So, Beta Bill, we'll see you at the gates.
I vividly remember watching Popeye at the drive-in when I was a little tyke. She did a good job. Popeye with Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall, and I have professed my love for The Shining. I think it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time. In fact, I often flip back and forth, like, is The Shining the best or is The Exorcist the best? And maybe it's 50-50 that The Shining takes the top spot for me. I just love it.
I'll stop you right there. It's the Babadook.
Okay. That take was really so bad it knocked us out of the newsroom.
It did. The newsroom closed on us. It threw us out. But that said, there's your news for the week of whatever this is. Merry Christmas and July.
If you're watching this in the future, you just have to guess.
Or if you're listening, you're on a completely different kind of an experience. Supposedly, I watched a video that said Jimi Hendrix put LSD under his, what is this called? A headband.
Headband.
The name escaped me solidly. So it could sink into his pores while he was performing. That doesn't seem that great to me. I figured like he could just get it and just take it. However you do LSD.
I think though it would be a slower entry, so you don't start off like ripping. But if you did that a couple hours before, and then as you sweat and get moving on stage, because I mean, Jimi Hendrix wasn't no five-piece quartet, you know, sitting there in one place and playing shabadoo, shab shab shabadoo. I mean, he was a rocker and a roller and a kick-ass motherfucker, jumping around on the stage and gyrating all kinds of satanic ways. Well, by the crescendo of the show, like I could imagine he is rolling.
So he's setting his guitar on fire and thinking it's just a dragon has arrived in Woodstock, and a sea of dead bodies. And he's just
to an extent like
That's
those
kind of-
kind of trips are few and far between. Definitely like glimpses of what the fuck did I see or what am I feeling, but like if you are in a good mood and in a good place, like that is a fucking roller coaster ride of vibes when you're in a good vibe.
If you take a hit of something, Rabble, and watch Dave's camera, you could get into some analog horror trippy shit with that. Am I right, Jeff? Am I right, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's your game for this season of Horror House, which may be ending soon. Or I mean, the Dung Beatles, the shitty Beatles, if you will, are backing Dave up. They're your
Beatles.
They're like your Alex Lifeson and Neil Peart behind you. You're the Geddy Lee of the situation. Because you play bass and keyboards with your feet, also in your hands when you're not doing. Anyways, I don't have any Rush. Sorry guys, I don't have any Rush.
And harmonica with my dick. Play harmonica with my dick.
I played it too long. We got copyright strike right on Twitch. But let's get into it. Get your Beatles records, kids. It's time to talk about some Beatles. Let's not even front load it, fellas. Let's save the bonus little things we have for then. Let's do something a little different. We always keep them hanging on. Let's just. I mean, we did the news first, but you know. I think let's get right into the main course of Paul McCartney as a robot, and has been a robot since 2003. 2023 maybe.
Some stuff on it.
I gotta look at my.
McCartney is a robot. I need some text, Chris.
Is that not what we were searching? Is that not what we were figuring out?
I'm game. If you tell me he's a robot, I just need some context.
Un momento, por favor. As you can see,
Is there a video of him bebopping and boop booing?
Yeah, there is. But let me zoom in here. As you can see, this is Paul McCartney. But I'm just kind of practicing my my conspiracy drawing right now. I don't know how to drag yet. But here's Paul McCartney, and here's John Lennon, and that's me practicing for later. But we'll start it off right here. Here is the Beatles in 1966. What would some people would think is the last time you would see the original Beatles together because Paul McCartney, that dude there on the left, died, supposedly, in a car crash in 1966. And I got some other pictures to fill the story in as we go, but this is, when you search Beatles in 1966, you just get every kind of a picture you could imagine. So this may not be exactly 66, so don't come after me, Beatles fans. But it feels pretty close. My limited Beatles knowledge, but
it feels about right. Looks about right.
The gist of the story is he died in 1966 in a car accident. And to keep the public from going into hysterics, the remaining Beatles, along with maybe the British government,
Keep the money flowing.
decided that they would find a replacement, and a lookalike that they would teach to play the role of Paul McCartney. And we'll get into later whether we believe this or not, or how possible it could be. But the band would go on to kind of regret these decisions and would leave their fans some hints that maybe things weren't what they seemed in some different kind of ways that we'll get into.
Yeah. Are you ready for us, or do you want me to throw some conspiracy clues into the mix?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's start with the iconic Abbey Road LP cover. Do you have that, Jeff or Chris, that you can pull?
Even before that, Sgt. Pepper was before that. So
okay. So my timeline might be a little bit off. Sgt. Pepper. I'll start with my Sgt. Pepper.
Let's go.
Evidence, because I got Sgt. Pepper on lock.
Let's go from 1966. This picture that we've seen was the last time they would see this version of the Beatles. The next time they would see them, a little bit later, because they went on a hiatus from touring and everything, kind of the public eye, they would come back and look something like this, which is quite different than what we saw. Ringo's still got about the same hair, though. Pretty Ringo. Look at that.
So this is
Anyways.
what drugs do to you kids.
Handlebar mustaches and bangs. They're going for it. But this is Sgt. Pepper. And as you can see, I mean, does Paul McCartney look a little different? Other than just facial hair? What do you think, everybody? Like, how are you feeling? I got some pictures at the end that we can analyze a little closer, but here's the cover here for Sgt. Pepper. Let's zoom in on the boys here. And there you have it, the new Beatles, if you will. And right here, some people would say, is a man named Billy Shears, Billy Campbell, Billy Shepherd. Pick your pick. But Dave.
So allegedly, if you mirror the image of the drum on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band drum, you get the letters spelled out: one O-N-E, one X.
Do that.
He died. So I'm assuming 111X means November 9th is the date of the car accident. And he died. He did.
We got. What are we looking for here?
Drum.
I am zoomed in on it.
Okay, so if you mirror that image, like down the middle, and do the
It is mirrored.
Mirror the left or mirror the right side. Then you get the words 111X he die across the center.
I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It looks like Streha Yelino. If you play that back, it may say Lonely Hearts. Let me know. I think we can debunk that. I don't see...
Oh, nope. I take it back. It's mirrored top to bottom.
Top to bottom? So not...
Yes.
So upside down and mirrored? Or...
So like, let me see. Let's see here.
Let's see.
Wait,
I don't know if I can turn it all the way.
The words in the middle of the drum. Just that line that's written vertically across the middle of the drum.
So not reversed?
Mirror that line across its midsection. I don't remember if you're marrying top to bottom or bottom to top. But you're supposed to get the words 1X, E star die, and that star is in a position to point straight to, in
Ringo.
blue, Paul McCartney.
So the A points... He's blue, right? Yes.
That Paul's in blue.
I don't see it. I'm terrible at these things, though. I don't know.
The magic eye thing?
Oh, shit, maybe. Are you either of you good at those? I'm terrible at them.
No, I'm terrible.
Okay. Sorry, viewers. I may have to cut some of this down.
That's okay. And we didn't rehearse this ahead of time. There is some more clues on the album or Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Here's one right here.
If you go to the inside.
Yes, I think that's what you're going for.
Yeah, if you go to the inside of the album, you'll see some images of the band. And only one band member is not facing the camera.
Interesting.
He's turned his back on the camera.
Interesting.
And that is Mr. Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So let me see. I song "I Am the Walrus" appears on what album?
Is that Sgt. Pepper's?
No. So "I Am the Walrus" does appear on Magical Mystery Tour, apparently.
Oh, okay.
But apparently there is a lyric left very discreetly hidden in that album, in that song, that says the walrus was Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The walruses symbolize duplicity or imposters in common parlance. Everybody knows. Everybody, don't look that up, kids. You just have to trust Beatles conspiracy experts. And it might hurt you if you look that up when you're not supposed to.
Now, I don't have the exact list of what songs go on what albums. Actually, let's finish the album cover talk, I guess, and then we'll go deep into the songs. Because I got one more album cover. They did two more after this. Or did Magical Mystery Tour happen after this? I don't count that one. That one don't count. Sorry, Beatles fans. It does. I don't know. I just don't have pictures of that one. It's not that relevant to this. But after this,
the other classic album cover is the Abbey Road LP.
Yes. Yeah. And here we have it. Let's zoom in a little bit. And there's a lot to say about this cover. And the conspiracy theory, Beatles, Paul is dead realm. Either of you fellas want to
start with the fact that
begin?
if you look at their feet, Paul is out of step with everyone else.
This is zoom in on these Beatles feet.
Clearly, that means he's dead. Like, why would he be out of step with everyone if he was alive? That doesn't make any sense. And if that's not convincing enough, let's look how the four members of the Beatles are dressed. First member, On the far right is John in his white suit. What could he represent? Maybe the doctors and nurses who cared for Paul after the car accident.
Okay.
But then we have Ringo in a black suit.
Now
Well, who wears a black suit?
now hold
Maybe-
on. I've read a couple different things about John's supposed character. One is that he's the priest,
Yeah.
and another one
See, I thought-
one is that he's a heavenly being, an angel, maybe.
I would go with the angel more than the priest. Have you ever seen a priest? Like, okay,
I've been to one
maybe a
Catholic
priest.
wedding, and it scared the life out of me. I've been agnostic ever
Probably when
since.
they sacrifice.
Yeah,
Yeah, when they sacrifice the babies, that's scary.
I
part,
didn't
but,
expect that. Blood for blood.
Yeah.
But next Ringo.
in my opinion, Ringo in the black suit represents the preacher man. Considering the fact that I was born and raised Catholic, I was thinking preacher and not like the Catholic priest in the white, so a little bit different. Maybe John represents the priest, and Ringo represents the pallbearer.
The
Definitely.
pallbearer,
Then you have Paul
The
in a
Undertaker.
blue.
the
The Undertaker.
The
yeah.
Undertaker, yes.
You have
that's
Paul
who I
in the
had.
blue suit. You have Paul in the blue suit representing himself as being deceased.
And
Then
plus,
you have George Harrison
plus,
in denim.
you're going too fast, Dave. Slow down. We're talking
Okay.
about each one. He's got no shoes on, like a dead
Yeah.
person
He's barefoot.
in a coffin.
He's barefoot.
He looks like he could be a Night of the Living Dead if he looked more ugly up top. He could totally be that.
And he was doing parkour, and he was smashing out your windows with a brick.
So thinking of him
And
as
then we-
as a corpse in a box totally fits in my brain. Looking at that, other than he looks
Yes, very
perfectly
much.
healthy. But last but not least, George Harrison.
George Harrison wearing denim. Who wears denim in the funeral? Oh, could it be the grave digger that comes along after and closes everything up? And then, what's that I see in the background? A Beatle
Oh,
with a license plate. What's the license plate say, Chris?
the license plate. It's very hard to make out. LW or LMW, which some fans, LMW. Who wants to explain to everybody what LMW stands for?
Left this mortal world.
No, I didn't hear that one. I've got Linda
Because I just came up with
McCartney
one.
Weeps or Linda McCartney Widow.
Okay.
And 28 IF, which is, sorry, I don't have a higher res picture, but 28 IF right there. Let's go in further.
But if Paul
Enhance.
died in '66, how well would he have been when Abbey Road came out?
According to Wikipedia 27,
Damn you, Wikipedia!
God damn it. But to lesser Beatles fans believed he would have been 28 if he had lived. And so the Beatles had a license plate made and put it on a Beatle, a white Beatle, sitting in the background of the picture so they could clue some people in on potentially their deceased bandmate. That's not too far for the biggest band in the world. That's not too far.
Also, Paul is holding a cigarette in his right hand, and Paul's a lefty.
Okay. True.
Oh. Damn you, Billy Shears! You almost gave the whole hoax away right there.
I think that's all I have for the cover, but there's so many. Any you guys got anything else for this cover? Because there's so much other stuff that I have like glossed over. I'm like, is that really a thing? I'm sure people are like, see that first light pole? That stands for that stands for the light pole that Lovely Rita was standing next to when he noticed her and died. See that window? That's where Batman is. Sorry. But now, let's go back a little bit.
He's probably a British Batman. Oi, I'm Batman.
Oi, cunts!
I'd snog a horse for some beans and cabbage right now. Oi.
Beans and cabbage?
That's
Anything
what
else
British
you want to
people
talk
like
about
to
the covers for these, or going to go back to the songs? What are you guys feeling like?
eat? We can head into the songs if you like. Take us down that trip. Road LP.
All right. So, I don't know what album some of these were made on. So we'll just go back to a nondescript picture of the Beatles. But Lovely Rita. A meter maid that distracted Paul McCartney, causing him to crash. Listen to the song, kind of makes sense. She is the meter maid that got his attention, caused him to not notice a traffic light, and leads us into another song.
Did she show her ankles or something? Like, what made him crash? I mean, what about her?
She was just a handsome man, I think. A handsome woman, that's what I was going for. That joke did not work right. And that leads to A Day in the Life, which is him not noticing the traffic light changed. And he gets decapitated. Sorry. That's the next song, which is Don't Pass Me By. That's the crash and being decapitated, but it's also a eulogy by Ringo. There's a couple eulogies by different members that I've read about. And that Don't Pass Me By. Don't Make Me Cry. It's a weird song. When you try to think of, like, Dave, don't pass me by. Jeff, don't make me cry. 'Cause I have eyes only for you. That's not something you say to your friends. Even if they are dead like that. It's just... that one's a little much for me. But next, Blue Jay Way, which is the funeral service and the eulogy by George Harrison. I am honestly not familiar with that one, and I did not listen to it. I completely forgot about it till right now. And then Strawberry Fields Forever, John's line, I buried Paul. Where did you? Why would you bury Paul, John? Why would you do that? Why'd you do that? But any other? We'll get into the backmasking here in a second. But any other like straightforward songs that you guys know of that kind of fit the bill for this?
67, Sgt. Pepper Harrison's song "Within You, Without You" seems pretty straightforward.
Okay.
You know, 1967, "Your Mother Should Know." But were they hiding it from his mom too? I don't know. That just seems.
Could be. Could very well be, I guess. Jeff, any other of the songs that you want to talk about before we get into like the backmasking or like kind of the?
I was just reading that that they had replaced Paul with an imposter, and the imposter had wrote "Hey Jude" and "Blackbird," which means he's the guy who probably should have had Paul's job in the first place.
I got a lot to say about that. I got a lot to say about that. Yeah. But moving on, we get to some people learn how to play their records backwards, I think sometime in the 60s, and started to hear subliminal messages, backmasking, messages from the band, messages about Satan, messages about clues about their dead bandmate. I think maybe so. Dave, you got any backmasked messages in these Beatles songs?
I did some backmasking research, but I did not get into the Beatles backmasking. So you're gonna have to illuminate me on the Beatles.
I don't have a ton of them. There's always more that on these websites you get crazy ones, but On I'm So Tired, reversed sounds like Paul is dead, man. Miss him, miss him, miss him. And then on Revolution 9, on the White Album, it says, turn me on, dead man. Which, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Turn me on, dead man? I mean, also the 60s had weird lingo, but telling one of your dead friends to turn you on doesn't really sit how I think it would.
White Album came out that's the height of the hippie movement, the Hyde-Ashbury movement, when the White Album comes out.
Right.
And you have the turn on, tune in, drop out movement. So, I think turning on is not a sexual thing. Turning on is like turning my brain on. Tune me in to those higher frequencies and, allow me to connect. Are they trying to connect to Paul on the other side?
Maybe. I had not thought of that. What the fuck did I just do? Hold on, sorry about that. There we go. I had not thought about that possibility. Intriguing. But any other, obviously we went over the album covers, any other aspects of this that you guys want to touch on before we move on to some other Beatles stuff, some other rock band, pop band, whatever stuff?
What was the first song they backmasked?
I don't know what the first one was.
That was Rain. The message says, sunshine, rain, when the rain comes, they run and hide their heads.
Okay.
Again, I don't know what they mean.
That's better than the turn me on, dead man.
I agree.
Makes more sense.
Some of the backmasking, because I went down a little bit of a backmasking rabbit hole. I watched the Katy Perry Dark Horses music video from start to finish backwards. So I went down a rabbit hole, and it mostly felt like one of those TikToks where they play an audio cue and then they put up two different words, and they're like, stare at one of these words and then listen, and watch the video again and stare at the other word. Even though the sound is the same, your brain will hear it two different ways.
Yeah.
And
what is it? Brainstorm and
like
something needle? I forget what that one was.
Yeah.
Brain. I forgot.
Just,
you
if
know,
it's vague enough, the pareidolia. Pareidolia is the real effect that your brain is searching for meaning. Sometimes where there is no meaning or patterns. Our brains are pattern
easily
machines,
tricked. Yes.
Pattern detectors. So I firmly believe that, like, some backmasking is just whatever you're looking for. Or if somebody tells you this is what you're going to hear, you're primed for that.
Yeah. I agree.
And I firmly do believe that there were some bands that put backmasking on, or at least rumored that there would be backmasking, so you could tear up your fucking albums and buy new ones. I mean, come on.
Trick or Treat. Go watch our Trick or Treat episode last week.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about why would the Beatles, the remaining Beatles, maybe, why would they hook up with potentially the British government, MI5, whatever, to replace Paul McCartney? Why would they do that? Tell me, fellas, why do you think they would do that?
To keep the money flowing, I think.
You think it was a money thing?
To keep the money flowing at this point. Yeah. I think that's the most logical answer. I follow the money whenever shenanigans are afoot, and also the simplest explanation is usually the right explanation. Jeff, why do you think?
Why they replace Paul?
Yeah, why would they go through all this trouble?
Shits and giggles.
The fuck of it all.
Yeah.
Possible. I think that if this was possibly true, that it was, I mean, John Lennon said we're bigger than the Beatles at the, I mean, girls were fainting.
Jesus.
Yeah, bigger than the
Bigger than
Beatles. What am I
Jesus.
saying? I've had 3 beers.
He said that
We're
when he
bigger
was
than the
playing his
Beatles.
spot tube.
Oh, we're bigger than the Beatles. That's the worst Beatles impression ever. But, I mean, girls would look at a picture of the Beatles and pass out in the 60s. And, I mean, it wasn't just girls that were crazy about the Beatles. Everybody, not everybody, but, like,
Yeah.
youth.
Not the parents.
Yeah. So I can kind of see, keep the public at rest. Don't have people rioting in the streets because Paul McCartney, one of the Beatles, died. Any of the Beatles, maybe, at that point. I don't know. On the same token, like around that time, if Elvis had died then instead of 10 years later in the 70s, I don't know. Could they have done the same thing here? Been like, we need a replacement Elvis stat to keep
Did they do that?
things.
Did they do the opposite with Elvis? So you brought up an interesting point, and my brain just came up. My big brain just came up with another possibility for why they would do this. The British invasion. Remember, we called this the British invasion, the Beatles coming to America. And you're right. The girls went crazy for the Beatles, but so did the guys.
Yeah.
And the British government wanted that. They wanted to send the Beatles over here and turn the damn frogs gay.
Slow down, Jones. Slow down.
It's not chemtrails. It was the Beatles did it first.
Okay, so let's go to what Jeff was saying a minute ago about why it's bullshit. We talked about why it's maybe possible. Why is it maybe bullshit? You telling me that this Billy Shears guy wrote Hey Jude? He wrote Blackbird? He wrote all these songs post 1967 or so? Like, maybe the other Beatles were writing his songs, but Lennon and McCartney were always very different to me. I was a McCartney guy. I didn't care that much for John Lennon. More when he was like tripped out and writing crazy stuff. I didn't care for that. Before that was cool, but I always preferred Paul McCartney's songs over his. So they just found this guy that looked like him, first off, and they were able to teach him how to play and sing like Paul McCartney in this maybe a year, maybe not even a year.
This guy's not learning from scratch. He could have known how to play guitar before. And I'm sorry, and I know I am the least musically talented person in the horror house. I understand that. I just don't feel like most of the Beatles shit is that difficult to play. And I don't play shit. It doesn't sound
It's deceptively
musically complex to play.
It's deceptively primitive at if you try to mimic
Sure,
it,
seems like
you're gonna have a hard time. If you try
It
to sound
sounds
like
like-
the Beatles, you're gonna have a hard time.
Sgt. Pepper's Magical Mystery and White Album. They sound more difficult in the studio
Yeah,
than they sound to actually play. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like the production side has really changed. But musically, it just doesn't sound, and again, you're the expert, so if you tell me it's much harder to play than it sounds, sure. I can't
well,
can't
they
play
said that
shit.
was it John or Paul said that somebody asked them if Ringo was the best drummer in the world, and one of them replied, "He's not the best drummer in the Beatles." This is my favorite Beatles quote. But Paul McCartney is a great bass player. Is.
Sure. But was he that before 1966?
Yes. Was indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight it because I can't.
I mean, they're not out there playing, Blackened by Metallica. They ain't on that kind of a hemisphere. But on a different hemisphere, you're not going to have Metallica learn a Beatles song and it sound anywhere close to that, even though
let's see the Beatles play some Living on a Prayer. Let's hear some Beatles play some Living on a Prayer and see how well they do.
That could be interesting.
Living on a Prayer by Foreigner.
But to take the world of musicians and then to shrink that pool down to people that just look like Paul McCartney, and then you've got this little thing, and you're telling me that out of this little sect of people, one of them is going to be good enough to be like, you're the new Paul McCartney. You can sing. You not only do you look like him, you sound like him, and you can play an instrument.
A bass guitar. It's one string easier than a lead guitar.
Did you just say lead guitar was easy?
I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works.
Jeff, what do you want to name our next podcast? Is it Jeff and Chris without Dave? I think is what I'm going with first.
Dave's not here.
That's a great name. But you guys, how do you feel? Why do you think it's maybe bullshit? Either one of you.
I think the biggest reason it might be bullshit is you're telling me 60 years later nobody has spilled the beans. Like, we got some hints and we got some people that make 60 years later. That's just not how human beings work.
Right.
Oh, I did see a YouTube video. It's like Billy Shears admits that Paul's dead, and I fucking watched that thing, and it was 6 minutes of him Paul McCartney on a phone call, and at no point does he admit shit.
I watched one of those of George Harrison. That was at no point did he say anything about this. They're just like, there's all the proof you need. What?
Yeah, well, there was one line where Paul is in the limo on the phone and he's like, I can't believe that people say this, like, Paul McCartney's dead. Do people really believe this? And that's what he said. But because he said those words, like, that's the proof. Even though it was totally out of context. So I will call bullshit. I'll call bullshit on this one.
Jeff, how do you feel? Why would you lean towards this is not true? This is bullshit. Other than, like, you tell me he wrote these songs? You tell me this Billy Shears guy wrote the songs?
It's just not feasible. I mean, like you guys are saying, like, you have to have someone that looks like them and sounds like them. I mean, Journey got a guy that replaced, Tyler.
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry.
Tyler Stevenson.
It sounds like him, but doesn't look like him.
Yeah, it's an Asian guy. I think he's Korean, maybe? I forget.
There's this black guy in a dress playing in Foreigner now, an attorney now. I think it's Tyler Perry in a dress.
I am just... Yeah, it's just... But before we leave this completely, let's take a look at a couple pictures of Paul pre-66 and post-66. I just got two, but we can analyze them, see what we think. And here's one. You always put the after picture on the right. I don't know why they did it this way. This infuriates me, but whatever. I can see a little bit of difference, but I just see a guy that got a little bit leaner as he grew up in his cheeks.
I'll do that to you.
But how do you guys feel about this picture? I can zoom in. You
I think he's got
need
the same skin.
you need a little bit of zoom.
I think you need to. The nose is exact, and those fucking giant Keebler elf ears. So yeah, I'm buying that that's the same guy.
I mean, the teeth are a little bit different, but he probably just got a little bit of dental work done when he had some fucking money.
Beatles money. Yeah,
He's showing more
Beatles
forehead.
money.
Yeah.
That's because forehead is sexy. That's Jake Gyllenhaal.
One of the biggest
Lord.
offenses is that Matthew Broderick never played Paul McCartney in a Beatles movie in the 80s. Missed opportunity. Now here's this one. I don't know
The Beatles starring Matthew Broderick and a dirty hobo as John Lennon.
I don't know when the picture on the right is. Sometime in the 70s, I would imagine. But obviously the one on the left is pretty early Beatles. But again, I mean, look at the nose. Little boogers here, bigger boogers on the right. Little boogers here, bigger boogers on the right. But the mouth is a little bit different shaped. Dave, explain. Or Jeff, explain. You guys, why is his mouth a different shape?
Zoom out just a little bit. Oh,
That's as far as I
don't know
go.
that it really is. Look at the bottom lip, kind of does the same thing. You don't know if he's getting ready to say something in one pic. Like, there's just not enough context there to say it's totally different shaped. If anything, he's got a little bit of a smirk starting on the second one, but he's not full smirk. He's just smuh on that second picture. So.
But the one on the left looks like he got caught doing something.
Right. Like, Paul. He's like, huh? Here, Paul.
The
hurry.
one on the right looks like he's got a Nazi super soldier looking over his shoulder. You can barely see
yeah,
the
who the
picture,
fuck
so.
is that?
Dr. Doofenshmirtz or something, I don't know.
We made Billy Shears the best Paul McCartney we ever could. Except the hair, we couldn't get the hair quite right. Also the mouth's a little different.
Probably William S. Burroughs.
Oh shit, it could be. It could be. Well, there you have it. Now, fellas, let's roll up our boots, put our shorts on, our ankles, and then let's get a little comfortable. Not take things as seriously as we have been taking them. You know, we've been very much. I should have had that in my head the whole fucking time, and I didn't. My science pen. Let's take our science pens out of our hats, lay them down, and let's have some fun. Holy shit. I don't even know. What was that? Did I do that? And let's talk about some other music legends. Maybe it was some more Beatles stuff. Urban legends, conspiracy theories, maybe? You decide. That's how we'll kind of wind things down for the night. Who wants to go first?
Let's keep it light and keep it on the Beatles, and let's say, did the Beatles release 2 albums in the 70s under the name 2? So I listened to the 1975 debut album and the 1977 album. Apparently, they kind of leaned into this in the 70s. Supposedly, the word "the Beatles" is hidden on the album, on both of the album covers and stuff. They leaned into this for a couple of years and wrote some lyrics but then when it became apparent, like they could no longer hide their identities, and it's three Canadian dudes. And their second album like fizzled out because everyone was like, "Oh." I it's the first album was 1975, and to say it was Beatle-esque is generous. I like it. I like it,
It's
and
not, the
it's
one
got
song I
that
listened to
hippie
was not
fucking
bad.
vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a hippie vibe to it, and I could make this like chill beach music. Very easy for me. But like the Beatles, even their even their slower stuff is kind of poppy, and this didn't really have that vibe to me. So I mean I'm just a layperson with lay ears, and but I didn't think it sounded super Beatly, or maybe it's like Beatles mixed with like Blue Oyster Cult, because
Bowie.
you know so Bowie, some Bowie vibe or something like that. Yeah, so
This is what Klaatu actually looked like, apparently. There's a couple pictures of them. A Canadian progressive rock band? You're telling me that these three guys were a progressive Canadian rock band? I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
when did Rush first album come out?
69, 70, 71, somewhere like
Okay.
that. I have the internet at my fingertips, Dave.
And you know the plausible nature of this conspiracy theory is just that we've seen this before, or since, not before, but since. Stephen King wrote under the pseudonym Richard Bachman.
Yeah.
Garth Brooks sang under the pseudonym Chris Gaines. So we've seen people pull this off before, and
Right.
it's really just impossible to pull off in an age when pictures and video exist. Maybe a 1920s band could have pulled that off, or something, but by 1970s, like this wasn't gonna.
Rush's first album was 1974. I was very wrong.
Okay. There was one song on I think it was on the first album called Sub Rosa Subway. That includes some Morse code going on in the background, and I would have loved to isolate that and kind of translate it. I do not have the technical skill for that. So,
Jeff, do you have another Beatles? It doesn't have to be Beatles or music in general. Like urban legend, conspiracy theory. What you got? What you got, brother? Hit me up. Tell me your story.
The Scorpions' Wind of Change was written by the CIA.
Interesting.
I think I did hear this, Jeff. Why would they do that?
To, was it destabilize? What's the word?
Destabilize.
Yeah, as propaganda to destabilize the
Russian
Soviet
bloc.
Union to end the Cold War.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like Kiss said. God gave rock and roll to me, gave rock and roll to you, gave rock and roll to everyone. The CIA gave rock and roll to destabilize Russia.
Why would a
The next
Scorpion
verse,
song destabilize Russia, though? Weren't they German? What am I missing?
Yeah, but I mean, so remember, East Germany, West Germany were divided.
Oh, right.
And so this is a song about the winds of change. Hey, peace is, we give peace a chance. There was a big, peace movement. The sometimes the hippies do good stuff. So in this case, the CIA was helping musicians bring that peace and love because it would destabilize their enemy. But would it always be that way?
All right.
Would
Well,
you
I'm
give
gonna.
this much credence? You give this much credence, Jeff, Chris?
Sure. More than Paul's dead, for sure.
Okay. Jeff, what do you think?
Oh, what?
Do you give this any credence? Do you think
Wow.
the CIA wrote this song or promoted this song?
Oh, no. Definitely not.
I don't put a lot of stock. I put zero stock in the CIA creating this song because it is a good song, and the CIA are just a different form of Nazi. So I don't think they could have. You hear helicopters? CIA, I don't think they could have created the song. Now, could they have to promote it? Maybe, but it's not like this song comes out of nowhere. Like the Scorpions are, I dig the Scorpions. Oh,
Next up, you knew I was going to have to talk about him at some point, and so I shall. Kiss. Couple things. I'll just knock them off real quick. We'll get all the Kiss stuff out of the way real quick. Number one, Gene Simmons had a cow's tongue grafted onto his real tongue to make it long. True. As far as I can tell, absolutely true. Look at that. That's a cow's tongue.
he do it for selfish reasons, or he did it for the ladies.
Oh, for sure. Just to have a cow's
He
tongue.
wasn't
Why would you
thinking
do
of
it?
himself. He's like, this isn't for me. This is for the ladies.
And also, other than that, Gene Simmons was the actual devil because of this costume and because of spitting blood, breathing fire, flying up in the rafters. He didn't do it at this point, but yeah, some people thought he was the actual devil, which also leads to my next thing, which is KISS stands for Knights in Satan's Service. Because, you know, they were recruiting the young people. They had the KISS army recruiting the young people to worship the devil in the 70s. Bunch of 20-something-year-old dudes in clown makeup and bondage-looking clothes was taking kids to the devils.
I'm a cat. I'm a sexy satanic cat.
Yeah. If anything's satanic, it's a feline.
This is a cat guy. I do not put any stock in this because a young man of worldly wisdom named Paul Rudd told me that all KISS songs are about fucking.
That's
Love Gun. It's about his dick.
That was Sean William Scott. Is that the right name?
Sean Diddy Combs.
No.
Stifler. I believe his name is Stifler.
I thought you said
correct.
Hitler. Why am I hearing Hitler so much tonight? This is terrible.
Chris.
Moving on.
Stifler told me that all KISS songs are about fucking, and I believe
A good, healthy majority of them are. I'm not even joking.
No,
but last,
Gene Simmons is a Jew who's like, let's make a lot of money and fuck a lot of chicks, and he succeeded.
yeah, and last of the usual KISS conspiracy kind of theories is KISS put their blood in a Marvel comic, their own Marvel comic that they had, which is true, but also a conspiracy theory into that. I mean, there's literal video footage of them getting the blood drawn and them pouring the vials into the red ink. But there's also theories that say it didn't make it to the KISS comic. It made it, one, to some random Marvel comic. I've read different ones, so I don't know the exact one. Or two, some Sports Illustrated issue at that time. I've never had a reason to disbelieve it, even from everything I've ever read. So I am still believed that if you were to get that KISS comic book and lick it, you would have KISS DNA on your tongue. Why are you licking it? Anyways,
kind of disease.
And a STD,
Just
for
like
sure.
after women in the 70s.
Yes. But, I mean, the blood in the comic is actually true. There's footage of them pouring it in.
Yeah, I have seen this and know that is true. I didn't know that there was a theory that it didn't make it to the correct comic though.
I think there's a Fantastic Four that it got rumored to be a part of. I don't. It's going into this giant thing. Like I don't believe them. But prove me wrong.
Do you not know what books they're printing at what time?
Yeah.
They're not printing like, oh, so this machine prints every Marvel title, but prints one of each title, and then prints one of each title again. Not it prints 5,000 of one title, and then we reconfigure it for something else. So yeah, I think that I know it's true that they put it in, but I think it probably made it to the correct comic.
Here's the actual cover of the comic. I don't think it's the actual one, because I think the actual one had like a splash thing on the front that said "Made with real Kiss blood." Because that'll sell fucking comics. I was hoping I could find a picture of them actually pouring it into the ink. Oh, here it is. And that's Stan Lee. That's Stan Lee right beside Paul Stanley there in the back. 70s was a weird time, man.
Weird shit.
It's like, where's Waldo? Where's Stan Lee?
Yeah.
Find him and everything.
I finally got to show Kiss pictures on the Horror House podcast. I couldn't be more satisfied with our choices and everything tonight. Let's go back. Dave, what's another one you got?
Oh, alluded to this earlier with Jeff's theory that the CIA wrote or promoted This of Change. Did the CIA create gangster rap? So a retired allegedly a ex-CIA agent, I can't verify anybody's credentials, came forward and said that yes, the CIA did promote, didn't create, but promoted and pushed gangster rap for a number of reasons. One, to destroy black communities, and two, if you remember, at the end of the 80s and the early 90s is when we really saw the rise of the prison industrial complex. And you can't build mega prisons with mega loads of prisoners if you don't have mega loads of prisoners to house. And so by promoting music that promoted drugs, alcohol, lawlessness, this general truant and ne'er-do-well attitude, then you can't fill up the prisons. So the CIA did promote this in cahoots with the music industry, and so definitely the music industry profited from gangster rap, and it seemed like they even profited more when these guys got into trouble, because when a gangster rapper went to jail or shot somebody or was involved in an altercation, like, everybody wanted to go out and buy those albums, and it was a weird fucking time. Like, it was weirder than the 70s in some respect for that. I think that I don't always feel like it's weirder than the 70s because I was born in 74. I lived through the second half of the 70s, but I lived through the 90s, so when you live through it, it doesn't seem as weird. But when you talk about things in the promotion of everything gangster rap promoted, it really seems weird. So Jeff, where do you stand on this? What do you think?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't know.
About...
It seems as possible to me as the government in any kind of popular music. Like, probably not, but maybe is about where would live with it.
Well, I have another piece of evidence, and this is purely circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
But I give it more weight than the alleged FBI agent, because like I could go online and be like, oh yeah, my name's Dave Rumchata, and I'm a ex FBI agent, and
Great
I
name.
was there when they killed the last bird and replaced it with a robot. There used to be a rumor that the FBI and CIA were engaged, mostly the CIA, sounds like, was engaged in trafficking of drugs and guns out of the country, and drugs and guns into the inner cities, thinking that they would destroy any kind of gang activity. This was a time when black people were finally starting to come back into political power,
Right.
and whether
Political
this was
power?
racially motivated or if it was financially motivated, so that the CIA could gain money by selling drugs to the black communities, so that they could fund their secret wars, the Iran-Contra affair, and their secret wars in South America.
Okay.
But we actually have evidence, thanks to Freedom of Information Act requests. We have evidence that yes, they were involved in the creation of the development of crack cocaine, and smuggling these things, and or at the very least, knowingly allowing them to be smuggled in. And it really wasn't until things got so bad that you started to see them bleed out from the black communities into the white suburban communities, into well-to-do communities. It wasn't until then suddenly there was a movement to kind of stop this kind of thing, to stop flow of drugs into the inner city, to stop the flow of weapons into the inner city. So the fact that we know they actively allowed drugs in, I think points to the fact that they probably actively promoted gangster rap music. So as far as I'm concerned, this is everything but fact. I can't say that it's book it fact, but if it was the question on the quiz, I'm saying yes, this happened.
Okay.
Maybe the cause.
Well, I mean, even the PMRC thing.
Because of it.
How did we got out of retreat without talking heavily about backmasking and heavily about Tipper
we
Gore
did.
and the fucking PMRC?
We did. Were you here? Jeff wasn't, but you were. Oh yeah. You were doing your best, Jeff. I am not shitting on you. Even though that I shouldn't make jokes at our own expense. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I mean, I'm talking, we glossed over those things. I'm talking, we could have gone heavy.
We could have went political with it, but that's not our bag, baby.
Bullshit.
It made them a lot more money though. I think it was Nikki Sixx that was like, it made us so much more money when they started putting those little labels on our records. And he listen to him now, and sounds like he was like, oh, I was all for it because it was such a great idea. You're gonna make us so much money. I'm like, you ain't that forward thinking, brother. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Yes.
Let's get into let's take it back to a little bit of a horror thing, Dave. Actually, shit. Sorry, Jeff. You got anything else? Regale us. I was skipping your turn.
The song Louie Louie by the Kingsmen was actually thought to contain hidden messages. J. Edgar Hoover, the head of the FBI, then thought it contained coded messages to the Soviet, or that it had some kind of message of revolt. So for 18 months, he had the FBI agents listen to the song over and over and over again at different speeds and different frequencies, trying to figure out the lyrics and to see if there was some message to decode. The truth of the matter was, the song was recorded so poorly that it was very hard to understand the lyrics. what is hilarious, at one point, Richard Berry, I believe was a singer, wrote a lyric sheet for the song the FBI could have consulted, but perhaps they didn't know about it. This is not a conspiracy theory, it's a true story.
As somebody that has actually submitted songs to be copywritten, you have to, I mean, I'm sure it was a different process in the 60s compared to like the mid 2000s. In the 60s, you weren't emailing your track and lyric sheet, but that's literally what I had to provide is the song and the lyrics to the song.
And apparently,
so it's government stuff.
Apparently, they missed a part in the song where the drummer dropped his stick and yelled "fuck" really audibly in the middle of the song.
I love that they were looking so intently for something negative that they missed them dropping an F-bomb.
Nice.
Probably J. Edgar Hoover put some agents on this to distract from the fact that he was cross-dressing in the back room. So
you gotta do what you gotta do. I believe that. I pretty believe that. I think that's one of the ones I believe the most tonight. Honestly.
Yeah, this seems totally plausible.
Jeff, how do you feel? Plausible? Not plausible? Where are you thinking on the scale of Jeff-titude?
Oh, yeah, not plausible.
Not plausible? You say no? Wow. We got dissent amongst our ranks. All right. Well, this next one, I feel like you're gonna think this next one is absolutely plausible. And it has to do, I mean, they've talked about this very briefly. It has to do with this was from a couple years ago. It's been talked about a little bit. I'd never heard about it, though. It is about maybe one of the most, if not the most popular artist around today, which is Taylor Swift. Don't come after us, Tay-Tay. We're just reporting the news. Being good podcast fellows we are. But supposedly, she is a satanic clone of Xena LaVey, Xena Shrek, who was the high priestess of the Satan, the satanic high priestess. I don't know the satanic temple, whatever I don't know the exact wording, but I mean you can see some resemblance. But I mean, would you say clone there? I mean, sure, she's looking off to her right a little bit, but that should be enough to give you an idea. What do you guys think? How you feeling? Sprinkle some Illuminati on top.
Looks very similar, and not just in the face, but in the tall slenderness of her. So, from that respect. Now, I will share at this point.
Are you an instrument of the devil?
Theory that I have. No, I won't share the devil with you. He's all mine. But I share him with Saddam Hussein. There's a theory that there are actually only about 10 different faces for each ethnic group. And then every person's face is just a slight variations off of those 10 base faces. And so that's why you see historic pictures that's like, oh, that Civil War general looks like Owen Wilson. Oh, the guy who invented, the first guy to ever eat chicken eggs looks like Frank Zappa. Weird shit like that. Because there's only so many faces to go around. Which is why we have so many Zooey Deschanel / Katy Perry's around.
Oh my God! Brunette, like dark-haired and blonde, the Margot Robbie, Jamie Priestley effect. Oh my God! There's so many in each. Lord help me.
And because there's only so many face types to go around.
That's what makes me kind of agree with you. But yeah, there is a little bit of a resemblance there, but I wouldn't say clone. When I think clone, I'm going like down to the T, man. Like maybe some different like beauty marks, some different moles maybe because of the weird humanness of us all, but you know, actually, the more that I look at it, she does have kind of a boxy kind of a frame for her face, which also Xena also has. You know, this is true. This is true. I've changed my mind. 100%. 99.7%. Jeff, how do you feel?
She's
Give us
totally
your
got
thoughts.
the round oval face, the full lips,
Kind of a unique
nose.
nose.
the eyes.
Jeff, what are your thoughts? I can zoom in. If we need to zoom in, I can zoom in.
They look completely different.
Jeff, you're on our side. You're on our side.
Am I?
Yes. We have to provide intrigue and things. But you're probably right. You're probably right.
Jeff is the voice of dissent tonight.
Maybe the voice of reason. Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock into that. I read some Illuminati stuff that was sprinkled on the top, and I'm just like, this is goofy. This is real goofy. Dave, what is your next one?
So this is one I shared with you beforehand.
Okay.
David Bowie, and I don't know why. David Bowie was a weird dude. Very creative, very eccentric, very weird dude. But David Bowie predicted or gave rise to the personification of Ziggy Stardust as Kanye West. Did you ask for proof? Let's see.
Sure.
David Bowie released an album called 5 Years. And he released that June 16, 1972. And 5 years later, minus 8 days. So he was 8 days off from that. A young man named Kanye West was born. But that's not all. On the cover art for 5 years, David Bowie is standing in an alley outside of a building. That building has a sign that says K. West.
Let's bring her up.
Oh.
What was it called? 5 years?
5 years. The opening song is 5 years. The seminal rock album is called The Rising Sun.
Oh, okay.
So if you can get the rise and fall.
There we go. There it is. K West.
Stardust. First song is called 5 Years. And 5 years, again, minus 8 days, Kanye West was born. Who also, Kanye West, and let me say this. I'm not a Kanye West guy. I have one Kanye West song on my Spotify, and that's Stronger. I have that on my M playlist because it does pump me up a little bit. It's a total bravado song. But Kanye West, even though I don't like him, I will say he's very creative. He's very eccentric, kind of like David Bowie.
He's also once caught a fish that big.
He also, as I'm assuming South Park is real life, he also believes that he is a gay fish because he likes fish sticks. So, the South Park fans rallied to my defense here.
Yeah.
His last album I thought was trash. He wrote a song to Kim called You're My Chicken Sandwich. So You're My Chick-fil-A, that's it. It's called You're My Chick-fil-A. I think it was the dumbest fucking shit. I didn't find anything worthwhile on the album. When he started losing his mind and started singing about the God stuff, and I'm not shitting on the God stuff in general. Again, don't force it on me, and we don't got no problem. And I'm not saying him singing about it is forcing on it. I'm saying him singing about it while he's fucking underage starlets and shit, like pulling a Drake. We call that pulling a Drake. Like, don't do that. Don't do that.
All right, moving on from Kanye. Jeff.
Sorry, man. I'm bringing the vibe down.
God.
Bring
Dave,
it back
we're
up.
supposed to be rolling our pants up, not fucking dipping our hair in the tar pits. I don't know what I'm saying. Jeff, help me.
I don't know.
Get us out of here.
All right.
Give us something that's not Kanye. Or if you have a
Oh.
Kanye one, make it a good one.
No. In the 80s, it was said that Kate Bush must have been in a coven because she never toured outside of England because, witches can't cross water.
I thought
I
it was
didn't
vampires.
know that was a thing.
Apparently.
I thought that was vampires.
Witches drown in water, so... Or no, they float. I don't know.
Everybody drowns in water. I call bullshit on this one.
I don't drown
I'll
in
be-
water,
I'll
Dave.
be-
No, witches float because they weigh as much as a duck, and they're made of
Oh.
wood.
Oh, light as a feather, stiff as a board. And ducks have feathers. Jeff, you just helped me understand witches.
Well, thanks to Monty Python for that one.
I was going for the craft. I don't know a lot about Kate Bush. I don't know. Jeff, how do you
I
feel?
don't know.
True? Not true?
Oh, definitely true.
Definitely true?
Yeah.
Oh,
If
okay.
Jeff believes it, I believe it.
Yeah, I was gonna say sold. I'm sold. That's all the proof I need. Jeff, you are the voice of reason tonight. So if you say this is true,
Yes.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
For our next one, I want to talk about a singer from the early kind of 2000s, Andrew WK. And, I mean, if you don't know when it's time to party, we will party hard, then you need to go back. It's worth it. It's a great song. It's a fun party song. Drink a bunch and listen to that, and you'll have a great time.
Did he put that
assure
out
you.
before he became Ed in the
Before-
WWE?
Dave, how dare you disparage me like that? But before he became Edge in the WWE, the first part of his story is that supposedly Andrew WK was an actor or an industry created star, sort of like an NSYNC, but just one party boy. And he's even stated kind of as much that he auditioned for the role of Andrew WK in the late 90s. Now, the next part of the story, which we kind of talked about before we got on tonight, is there was an executive producer on his first album called Steve Mike. That no one knows who that is. He's
Probably because he has no last name.
Yeah. He never got that far in life to earn that, I guess. Or there's a couple possibilities. One, it's just Andrew WK, another name that he uses. Possible. Two, it's a amalgamation of all the names of these people that produced and wrote and recorded this album. Or three, It's just Dave Grohl, and he had these songs that he wanted to get out to the world that were just maybe a little too cheesy and too straightforward for the Foo Fighters or for him to release under himself, which seems... Have you seen Studio 666? Because we have.
Oh, yeah, I got some comments on this theory.
Last but not least, Andrew WK has kind of confirmed certain aspects of this in very vague ways in interviews and on stage over the years. But I mean, that's really about it. There's no solid confirmation still. And there you go.
So clearly Dave Grohl is concerned about being too cheesy or too poppy. Hence why he felt the need to say something about Tay-Tay. And
Dave, we can't do this.
WK is Dave Grohl. Done. Book it. Okay, I want my deep dish personal pan deep dish pizza from Pizza Hut. Book that shit.
Jeff, how do you feel about this?
Definitely true. They've never been photographed together, so that's all your proof you need right there.
All right, there you have it. Circling around back to Mr. Dave. Dave, you got anything else for us this episode?
Oh, let's throw. I'm gonna throw my last thing out here. I've got some other things. I sent you guys a big ass list. I guess I kind of got a couple I want to do. Let's do this one. Stevie Wonder is not blind. I did not get it sent to you guys, but I found a clip from the NBA Tonight set where they have gone to commercial and they're shooting the shit, and Shaq starts telling the story about when he first moved out to LA. He lived in the same building that Stevie Wonder lived in, and he got on the elevator, and at the next stop, when the doors opened up, Stevie Wonder was there by himself. No one helping him around, no one showing him, he was there by himself, and immediately said, "Oh, hey, Shaq," and then gets in the elevator and immediately pushes the correct button to go to his floor, and Shaq was just dumbfounded. And I like Shaq now. I hated him when he played, mostly because he played a bullshit fucking style and he beat the Pacers way too much. I mean, he's got a cool vibe, a cool playful vibe. So I'm cool with Shaq now. And even though I like him, I don't think he's smart enough, or maybe that's not the right word, conniving enough to invent a story about Stevie Wonder out of whole cloth. And then I have the clip that I shared with you guys.
Let's show everybody that clip. Let's watch.
Okay, let's do this.
No sound, because we don't want to get copyright strict, but I don't know what this is from, but of course, here's Billy Shears kicking over a mic stand by accident.
Hey Jude.
And let's watch. Right there. You see that? Let's rewind. Can you slow-mo a YouTube? I feel like you can. Hell yeah. Here we'll do halftime. Do halftime. Let's back her up a little bit. There goes the mic. And there goes Stevie catching it.
Attention YouTube, we're playing this clip for educational and entertainment purposes only.
Damn, he really got on that piano. That was pretty rad. What do you think? I don't know.
So
I have an in-law that they say is blind, but I know she sees things, but they're like, "Oh, she's not blind like that way, but like she is blind." And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying.
Legally blind.
Yeah,
legally blind. Yeah.
Legally blind. And I've seen things that I know that there are people who can see more than they should.
That sounds pretty creepy,
That's all
Dave.
Yeah, that
Daredevil?
sounds ominous. Like,
Don't get me and
different
Jeff
dimensions?
implicated and killed in something.
Do you mean dragons?
Dragon? Dragon?
God.
Jeff, do you have any
Yeah.
final ones?
That Morgan Freeman is actually Jimi Hendrix.
I fucking see it and I don't even got to look it up.
Yeah, no, as soon as you said it, that makes total fucking sense.
Hold on.
Hmm.
I know. Hold on. Let me find a good pick. I'm working on it.
Wow, that's
Even
a
young
good one, Jeff.
Morgan Freeman looks pretty close. Obviously, if you look older, but let's first take a look at young Morgan Freeman and obviously younger Jimi Hendrix. Never made it past not being young, unfortunately. But even their younger selves, they could have absolutely been brothers. But here's the younger. They got very similar noses. They may have one of the same parents at least. But let's compare. Here's older Morgan Freeman and Jimi Hendrix. I would totally believe, if I didn't know like the history of Jimi Hendrix at all or who Morgan Freeman was, I could absolutely believe that's the same person.
There are only 5 years difference in their birthdays.
Really?
Morgan Freeman being a little bit older, if they are ethically two different people. So 5 years is not a lot of time, especially 30
Check
years
this
later.
out.
It's
Check
not like
this out.
5-0. It's like 28 when Jimmy died to 32. That 33, that's right there together. So
This is just a picture I found. I'm sure it's from some kind of fucking weird video. They have kind of similar teeth structures. And look at the noses now. Look at the noses from that direction. Damn. Morgan Freeman's got the earrings. That's pretty. You know what? I give that a 75% chance of being true. You know what? Dave, how do you feel? What do you think?
As soon as he said it, I was like, it just makes too much sense. It really does.
Jeff, how do you feel? How do you feel how plausible that is?
Very, very plausible. I mean, he could have just gone like, oh, I'm gonna change my name, do rock.
I mean, maybe this is not intentional. Maybe this is part of he was an early subject of the MK Ultra programming.
Yeah.
What could be?
So the CIA said, let's take this counterculture guy and turn him into an asset. Bring him in out of the cold. Brainwash him.
I've got a couple, but I'll save some more for a later date. But I have one that I really want to talk about and one to kind of end us with. So if you guys have any other things you want to say, I'll do my two like back to back. One's very small, one's a little bit more in depth. So
I've got a couple more, but let's save them because I'm sure we're going to come back to Conspiracy 2 because this was a lot of fun. So
all right,
hit us, Chris.
All right, first up, Debbie Harry from Blondie. Woo! Listen, Snooze and Snyder. The 70s was a different time and you weren't around, so Debbie Harry was it. But she says, sorry, I thirst trapped it or whatever the kids call it. I skibbidied. She says, almost abducted by a Ted Bundy. And she says, of course she was in Videodrome, of course. She's awesome. Debbie Harry's awesome. Um, she was waiting for a cab. She's trying to hail a cab in New York, in the Village, back in the 70s, and car pulled up. And this was back in the day when people were a little bit more loose and carefree. And so she got in the car. She got in the car and quickly noticed that things were not right in this car. It was kind of stripped down, the interior. There was not a lot of stuff in there. The driver was kind of quiet and strange. And she didn't have a door handle or a window crank on her side. But it was the summer and the windows were down a bit. And when she realized all this was going on, she said in her brain, I'm out of here. And had just enough to reach her hand outside of the door. I don't know how far that fucker had to be down. She's very skinny, as you can see. Very skinny. Maybe the skinniest. And was able to open the door and escape. She says that the driver made a sharp turn, which kind of also spilled her out into the street at the same time. So... And, I mean, she says she thinks it was Ted Bundy. I'm not going to question the great Debbie Harry.
I will throw some shade on her story for two reasons. And one is very circumstantial. Like, we don't know of any victims outside of the greater Chicagoland area. Now, Ted Bundy owned a construction company, and we know that he did travel sometime. If we want to go hard into Ted Bundy, I fully believe he did not commit all of those murders on his own. I think he had accomplices that went free because the police felt an urgency to shut it down and to wrap it up for the confidence of the public. So, but not known to have accomplices or not known to have kills outside of the Chicagoland area. And I last year was deep into a podcast that frequently played actual tapes taped by Ted Bundy in interviews with his lawyers, and his lawyer's son does this podcast, and he plays the tapes that his dad taped in his interviews with Ted Bundy, and that are now his property after his dad passed. And again, no mention of kills in New York or other areas, even though Ted is pretty open about the fact that he did horrible things. And two, and this is the real one, because could Ted Bundy not tell us about a murder in New York or a murder in his travels? Sure. Ted Bundy didn't exactly target the ladies all the time. He mostly made his targets of the male persuasion. And so, in fact, his first murder that he was very open about was a dude he took home, and he fell asleep, and the dude came into the bedroom with a knife, and Ted Bundy reacted and jumped up and started pummeling him and choked the life out of him, and that was his first kill, allegedly, only for Ted Bundy to find out that the dude had a knife because he had got up and made breakfast. And so that first kill was kind of an accidental, kill, in the fact that he overreacted in a way that it's not necessary. But Ted Bundy liked the boys.
I will say this on Debbie Harry's behalf. She's a member of the Itty Bitty Committee. So.
Sure.
But don't come after me. It's true. Look at pictures. Fuck off. Which brings us. Plausibility. Jeff, how do you feel? Dave says no way. I say I believe Debbie Harry from here to the moon.
Oh, I think, Chris, it's very possible. I mean, it could be very possible what Dave's saying, that there could have been accomplices or maybe copycats. People get intrigued by serial killers, and they find out who they are, and they want to do their own thing. So I see it go both ways. But
okay, fair.
I mean,
I'm very
well
easily
possible.
swayed by attractiveness. It, you know, like anybody should be. I think that's how things work. My last thing to send us off into the nether, into the horror house sky of dreams. And this is maybe the best one of the night, and we have never talked about this, I think, ever, and it's really not on the internet. It's something that I noticed once. And Dave, you may not see it, but Jeff, I think you will. So let me, if you'll look at the stream right now, fellas. Bert Kreischer. I have never seen him and Dave in the room together at the same time. Therefore, I think that Dave and Bert Kreischer are doing like this kind of dark half Stephen King kind of deal. I don't think... I watched his first comedy special and I'm like, if I squint, that's just Dave telling me stuff. Hold on, Dave. Pan up. You're just showing tits. Pan up.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole lot of man right there.
Pan up.
A whole lot of...
That's how I feel, Bert.
We look nothing like...
Not on this one. He's still got a little too much youngness still. But the machine. Oh, here.
We're like Billy Mays.
If Dave was like, I went to Sears and got some pictures done. Here's you one, and he handed this to me and you, Jeff. I've been like, I see that. I see that. I mean, Jeff, how do you feel? How do you feel about this conspiracy theory?
Oh, sounds good.
The horror house has been rocked by scandal tonight.
I have mentioned this theory before, but I have clicked on the goddamn thing again. I have made the screen look some weird kind of ways. I may have to put an epilepsy warning at the beginning of this episode. Dave is sweating for all of your viewing pleasure right now.
That's what happens to us fat guys.
Well, I hope everybody had fun tonight. Next week, we're going back to the movies. We don't know what movie yet, but we'll be here for it, and hopefully you will also be here for it. Let's go down the line. Final words on this episode, on anything. Dave.
Feel honored to be the first with the final words tonight. Hey, we can enjoy some fun conspiracy theories and laugh and enjoy them and their ridiculousness and or plausibility, and that's what we've done tonight. Like let her hair down and let your chest hair down. You don't have to keep it tied up in knots.
Amen, brother. Amen.
And this was a fun episode. I can see us coming back for more conspiracies. Maybe we aim more towards. We did a lot of music tonight. Maybe we do one and aim more towards movies. Maybe we come back with music. I've got some. I didn't shoot my last shot.
I didn't either. I've got a couple still left. Jeff, any final words?
Conspiracies are real. Just in a parallel universe.
You got a point.
Think about it.
In an infinite world with infinite universes, all of these theories are true in at least one of those universes.
True.
Monkeys on typewriters, man.
Yes, I love that. Last but not least, before we're out of here, follow us on these sons of bitches. Don't use our email to make your fucking PayPals.
Losers.
Fucking dumbass.
Get a new name. Get something original.
There's
Look at
only one horror house that
You got
has.
a shirt. You got a shirt with 50 million logos on it.
There's only one
Mm-hmm.
horror house that has Chris, Jeff, and Dave, and that's right here. Except no substitutions, my friends. Until next week, we bid you safe journeys. Same cemetery. We'll see you next weekend. Next weekend? Next Thursday. Same cemetery, different grave.
There, you nailed it.
Rock antlers. Conspiracy antlers. Somebody conspiracy antlers with me. Or jazz hands. Jazz palms.
I'm science pinning.
Jeff posed for the first time ever.